Okay. Good day, students. I'm your regular biology teacher, Mr. Daniel Ikweme. We're going to look at the topic, the liver. Remember in our previous edition, I told you about the kidney being an organ for osmoregulation. We discussed at length about the kidney. As I said earlier, if you have any problem with that, just box the question to me and I'll attend to you quickly. Let's look at this vital organ, which is equally the organ responsible for homeostasis. Do not forget that homeostasis is the maintenance of a steady internal environment in vertebrates. So this organ is very vital. Before we look at the function of this organ as in homeostasis, let me give you a preview where this organ is located. This is a very large organ in the body. It is reddish brown in color and it lies below the abdomen. This organ can be seen just below the diaphragm, overlapping the stomach. It lies below the diaphragm, overlapping the stomach. It has a very intensive blood supply. It has a lot of vital functions, which is the reason why we are going into it. The structure of this diagram, this organ, was discussed in SS1. So what they really want us to do here is to tell you why this organ is very vital in homeostasis. And that will lead us to the regulatory functions of the liver. Please let's move on. Is that it regulates the glucose level. Now, let me take your mind back to nutrition. When carbohydrate is taken, you discover that the end product of this carbohydrate is glucose. And this glucose is stored in the blood. And one of the functions of carbohydrate is to generate energy. So when this glucose is digested, when the carbohydrate is digested to a simpler form being glucose, it enters the bloodstream and is stored in the muscles, where when energy is needed, it is reactivated. But when this glucose becomes excess in the body, it becomes a very big issue. So now what the liver does is that when the glucose is in the blood and is too much, the liver will convert it to a compound known as glycogen. So this glycogen is what is stored in the muscle. And when the glycogen is stored in the muscle, the blood will be free from excess glucose. When the glucose is much in the blood, it results into many diseases. A very good example is diabetes mellitus, when the sugar level is too much. Don't forget that glucose is sugar. Now, let's go to the next one. Another regulatory function of the liver is that it stores glycogen pending when the conversion is needed. I told you that glucose is energy inclined. It gives the cells of the body energy to do work. So now when the glucose is much, the liver converts it to glycogen and store in the muscles. Now take for instance somebody that undergoes fasting, staying away from food for some hours. You discover that the food the person might have eaten the previous day has undergone digestion and the person is completely empty. So what the liver does is it gets to the muscle, reconverts this glycogen, reconverts them into glucose. When they are reconverted into glucose, the person's energy will be boosted again. So that is what the liver does. It converts to glucose, from glucose to glycogen, or vice versa. Let's look at point number 3. The liver detoxificates the blood from harmful substances. Now what the liver does is, when you eat things that are harmful, the liver will begin to break them down, try to make them harmless. Things like drugs. Maybe mistakenly you took over expired drugs, and the liver discovers that that drug will be harmful to the system. The liver breaks it down, converts it to a less harmful substance, and push where it comes out as urine. So that is the way the liver detoxificates the body from harmful substances by converting them to less harmful substances. Another important point is that the liver converts excess amino acids. Amino acids, let me break it down, is gotten from protein. Now, when you eat proteinous food and the food undergoes digestion, later we are going to look at the digestive system. You discover that, for instance, you took beans. When these beans have undergone thorough digestion, it will be converted after a series of reactions to what we call amino acids. So, amino acid happens to be the end product of protein, just as glucose is the end product of carbohydrates. So now let's go back to the regulatory function. We said it converts excess amino acids. So excess of everything is bad. When amino acid is too much in the system, it becomes poisonous. So what will the liver do? The liver will convert it into two compounds. The first one is ammonia, and the next one is keto acid. So when these two conversions are made, it will make the harmful nature of the excess amino acid to be less. And the process where the liver converts excess amino acid into ammonia and keto acid is known as deamination. Do not forget deamination. That means the reduction of the harmful nature of amino acid in the blood. So that process is called deamination. Another regulatory function of the liver is that the liver stores vitamins A and D. From our elementary science, you agree with me that vitamin A is very important in clearing the eyes. As a matter of fact, it helps in brightness of our eyes, the sight, while this gives us a good skin texture. So this liver stores these vitamins. When the body is having shortage, the liver will produce them so that they can be active. Finally, the liver could be regarded as a generator. You can see that when you on a generator in a room and you get into that room after a while, the room will be hot. So as the liver is working day and night, it is generating heat. And this heat generated by the liver helps to maintain a constant temperature in the internal environment. I hope you've got that right. You might be asked in WAEC to mention at least 5 regulatory functions of the liver. These regulatory functions make the liver an organ of homeostasis. So they are regulation, it regulates the blood level, the glucose level in the blood from excess to store them as glycogen. It stores glycogen pending when the conversion is needed. It detoxificates the blood from harmful substances. It converts excess amino acid in the blood into ammonia and keto acid. It helps in storage of vitamins A and D. And finally, its activity causes maintenance in the internal environment. Now let's quickly go to diseases. Diseases of the liver. Just like the kidney, the liver equally has some diseases that cause malfunctioning in the liver. The first one we want to consider is called jaundice. Jaundice is a condition that leads to a breakdown of blood protein. The blood protein here is what we call bilirubin. Bilirubin is a blood protein. What this does is to break it down. When it destroys this bilirubin, you discover that the patient suffering from this jaundice will have yellowing in the eye and in most cases on the skin. So mostly children, when you see a child with yellowing of the eyes, the cornea becomes completely yellow and the skin, we say that child has jaundice. That means there is constant breaking down of the blood protein known as bilirubin. It can equally occur when there is excess breakdown. This can equally occur when there is excess breakdown of the red blood cells. So that can equally lead to jaundice. Now let's look at the next one, gallstones. Gallstones is similar to when we discussed the kidney stones. In this situation, some crystals block the gallbladder. When the gallbladder is blocked due to accumulation of mineral crystals, this will obstruct the flow of bile. So when the mineral crystals comes in large number and block the bile duct is a tube. So when this bile duct is blocked, it will obstruct the flow of bile. Bile is a very important substance that aids in digestion. So when this duct is blocked, the secretion cannot flow again, and it results in what the medical sciences will call gallstones. Though it is a chronic, difficult situation, it can be dissolved by either taking what we call the bile acid, or it can be done surgically. Removal can be done surgically. Now let's look at another condition known as cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is a liver disease that causes inflammation. It causes inflammation of the liver, and when the liver is inflamed, it becomes hard and shrinks. It equally causes irregularity or irregular shape. It causes irregularity of the liver, making it to have an irregular shape. Don't forget the liver is bilobed. It has 2 lobes. But when cirrhosis happens, it gives it an irregular shape. And what causes cirrhosis? Cirrhosis is caused when a person has a prolonged intake of alcohol. So if you drink alcohol for a prolonged time, it shrinks the liver, and that results into this. And I want you to know that kidney, when it fails, it can be transplanted. But when the liver is completely destroyed, that ends the life of the owner. There is no transplant. So we should be careful of the kind of diet we take, especially alcohol. It destroys the liver. Let's go to the next one, viral hepatitis. Viral hepatitis, from the name viral, is caused by a microorganism known as the group virus. So this virus breaks down the liver. When this organism enters into the system, it gets into the liver and breaks them down. There are 2 types. We have the first type known as infective hepatitis, or we call it hepatitis type A. This one can be acquired through contact, physical contact. For example, if a patient has this and you share cup, plates, spoon, towel, you get it instantly. Viral disease is very contagious. You get it by sharing those objects I've mentioned. Then the word serum. Serum has to do with blood. You only get the serum hepatitis through blood transfusion, through sexual intercourse, through sexual related activities like kissing or sex. You can get serum hepatitis. Finally, amoebic liver abscess. Abscess means swollen. So this is a situation where amoebic here is gotten from a protozoa known as amoeba. So this amoebic dysentery, amoeba, a species of amoeba finds its way into the liver through the hypothalamic portal vein. When it gets into the liver, it will now cause the liver to swell. When the liver swells, that means the liver has loosed form. And sometimes it leads into dysentery because the organism there passes through the large intestines, enter the hypothalamic portal vein, and gets into the liver, causes this abscess. Abscess means swollen. So when the liver is swollen, it will not get right functions again. So those are the brief diseases of the liver. Before I round up the class, let me quickly give you the prevention. Now let's look at treatment of liver disease. I've discussed the disease. So how can you treat the liver disease? One, to have enough rest. If you are diagnosed with any of the diseases, that means you need to rest your body in order to limit the way the liver is working. Two, dietary control. There are some diets your doctor will prescribe. Do not eat this or eat this. You know, mostly anything that is poisonous should not get into your system. Because at that point, the liver is weak. The removal of toxins will not be very effective again. So you have to control your diet and maintain hygiene. Avoid alcoholic drinks, especially those that are diagnosed of cirrhosis. Finally,